Picture a swamp at the very end of the age of dinosaurs. A 9-ton predator with a mouth built to shatter bone stands 30 feet away from a 3-horned tank in the mud. These two lived in the Hell Creek Formation, a massive ecosystem stretching across modern Montana and the Dakotas. They were neighbors for thousands of generations, sharing the same mud and crossing paths continually until the asteroid ended the creek. We don't have to guess how these meetings went because we have the actual bones with the bite marks still frozen inside them. By treating paleontology like a forensic investigation, we can turn this fossil record into an active crime scene. The T-Rex relied on a back-tooth bite reaching 34,000 newtons. That force was focused onto the tip of a single banana-sized tooth, creating enough pressure to explode bone. Researchers reached those numbers by studying living crocodiles, measuring how their jaw muscles translate into force, and then scaling those models up to a full-grown Tyrannosaur. The Triceratops matched the predator's weight. Its defense featured a huge frill of solid bone and 2 brow horns, each a meter long, and tipped with a sharp keratin sheath. When 34,000 newtons of force meets a meter-long spear, the outcome is rarely a tidy story. Finding the winner requires examining the casualties. Forensics in paleontology relies on a single biological rule: dead bone cannot repair itself. An unhealed bite mark implies the animal died, but a healed mark proves it survived. Survived wounds look like lumpy scars. Over months or years, new bone grows over the injury, smoothing out the raw edges left by a tooth. One Triceratops brow horn was found with distinct Tyrannosaur tooth damage that had completely healed. New bone tissue had grown directly over the puncture. This single fossil ends the argument that T-Rex was only a scavenger. You cannot heal from being eaten after you are already dead. T-Rex hunted living, dangerous prey, and the Triceratops was tough enough to take a bite to the face and live to graze another day. But for every survivor, the fossil record shows a victim. In a sample of 18 Triceratops skulls from Hell Creek, nearly all were covered in unhealed marks. These marks are not random, clustering on the frill and the skull's base. The T-Rex clamped onto the frill as a handle, working the head back and forth until it came off, exposing the rich neck muscles. The feeding was incredibly thorough. One Triceratops hip bone shows 80 separate gouges, the result of a predator scraping the last of the meat off the heaviest part of the skeleton. The armor that protected the Triceratops in life became the lever the Tyrannosaur used to dismantle it in death. We can diagnose these scars by reading the way the bone tissue reacted under magnification, proving the animal was hurt in a fight, rather than suffering from a random deformity. However, forensic mapping reveals that a high percentage of the puncture wounds on these frills were not made by T-Rex teeth at all. Researchers reached this conclusion by comparing Triceratops injuries to those of Centrosaurus, a cousin with only 1 nose horn instead of 2 brow horns. On the Triceratops frill, the damage aligns perfectly with the spacing of an opponent's brow horns. They were locking horns and shoving, much like modern elk or deer. The frill was armor for a private war between their own kind, fought over territory and rank long before any predator arrived. The evidence written into the bone refuses to provide a single winner. There was never just one fight. The fossils tell of a limping, hungry predator, a scarred old survivor, and a victim whose head was wrenched away for the neck meat. This was a slow, brutal relationship that lasted 500,000 years between 2 perfectly matched titans. Their rivalry persisted because of this constant knife-edge balance. Neither species could fully out-evolve or completely eliminate the other. The power of paleontology is its ability to bypass the cinema and let us touch the actual, physical remnants of survival. This rivalry belonged to the deeply scarred, genuine animals still waiting for us in the ground, their history recorded in the wounds that never quite went away.